All right, let's go get them. The Washington Huskies with Kalen DeBoer, ex-Bulldog. Shout out to him. They had a great season, put themselves on the map with the beatdown that they gave to Michigan State. They're in playoff contention this year, and a lot of people have their quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., as a Heisman hopeful. So let's go ahead and get into it. Reasons for optimism. Number one reason for optimism, like I said, they have a quarterback that's a Heisman hopeful in Penix Jr. I mean, I think he was second in college football in passing yards, number one in total offense. And this guy was a monster. I had an affinity for him when I saw him play a bit at Indiana, but I didn't think that he could have this type of game to him. They have an elite receiving core with McMillan and Rome Odunze. So shout out to my Nigerian brother Odunze. He's up there on draft boards. A lot of people think that he's going to be an elite receiver. This draft class is stacked with receivers and stacked with quarterbacks. A side note there, but they have a good running back core with Dylan Jones coming in from Mississippi State. They have one of the nation's best pass rushers with Braylon Trice. They have an elite cornerback with Jabbar Muhammad. There's enough there to win a national championship, I definitely believe. When you look at causes for concern, one of the causes for concern is that they lost three starters on their offensive line. So, in particular, all three on the interior. They returned both tackles, but three new guys in the interior. That is something you definitely need to work through. And that is definitely something that could wreck a season. So, that's definitely a cause for concern. When you look at their schedule, the schedule is pretty stacked. They start off the season versus Boise State in the opener. That is not a game that Washington Huskies fans should sleep on. Boise State has this 6'6" athletic quarterback that kind of looks like, remind me a little bit of Kaepernick a little bit when he was at Nevada Reno. This guy can throw it, he can run it. I think he runs a 4.4. So this is a guy who's going to test their defense early. They have a lot of veteran receivers and veteran guys on the offensive side coming back. So this is a hell of a matchup in week one for them. Then they go to Michigan State. Again, they stomped Michigan State to start the season off last year. Michigan State's going to want some get back. This was obviously a down year for them. They're paying their coach big, big dollars. So, they're not going to take this lightly. Again, this is a game where they're going to have to travel all the way across country to Michigan State. And Washington, I won't say that they're a bad road team, but they were pretty choppy on the road last year. So this is going to be an interesting game. They have Oregon at home. This is a game of the year potential in all of college football. They have a great quarterback in Bo Nix. They have great receivers as well. So I think they actually match up pretty favorably to Oregon, especially if their pass rush can get home this game. So that's going to be a big game. And then they go to USC. They got, the game was closer in score than it actually was when they played in Southern California last year when they played UCLA. Washington completely disappointed me. If you don't understand how disappointed I am, understand that I had some financial considerations on Washington at that time, and they let me down. That game was a weird game. It was super late at night. I remember the game. It felt like it ended at 11 p.m. So, who knows? But that's Pac-12 football. So this USC game, they're playing against the best player in college football, in my opinion, and Caleb Williams. High flying offense. Can they get enough stops? This is going to be another game that has game of the year potential in it as well. And then they play Utah. Utah is always a tough team. They don't have their elite tight end prospect and Kincaid anymore, but that's going to be a tough team for them to play. All right, prediction time. I think that at the very least, Washington's probably going to make it to the Pac-12 championship game. I like them versus Oregon. I think that the USC game on the road might be tough for them, but that just gives them one loss. I think this is the best Pac-12 that I've seen in the last 10 years, and that this is the best Washington team that I've seen in maybe 20 years. I think this is better than I believe it was the 2016 team, 2017 team that went to the college football playoffs with Peterson, but I didn't think that team had a chance to actually win that thing. I think if Washington gets in, they're good enough, especially offensively, and they have a good enough pass rush that they can win the whole thing. That's as good as Washington is in my eyes. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Try to respond to all the comments, subscribe, and as always, the game is the game.